Which of these two sentences is correct? They said that they would be late. They said being late. Well, you probably know that the second one is wrong. We cannot say they said being late. But why? Because this one is correct. They denied being late. It all depends on the reporting verb you're using. And in this lesson, we're going to look at the grammar of reporting verbs. What grammar should you use after each reporting verb? Let's go into the classroom and look at this in more detail. Let's start with the most common pattern. First of all, follow this short story. Here's a picture of a baby, and some people do research on babies' hearing, and some researchers might say this. The researchers claimed that babies were born with perfect hearing. The researchers claimed that. Now, claim is a reporting verb. When you are saying you think something is true and you're trying to persuade others it is true. But notice after the verb claimed, I've used that. And this is the most common form of reporting verb grammar. Many reporting verbs are followed by a that clause. Here are some examples. Verbs such as claim, doubt, insist, prove, state, suggest, and also believe, discover, explain, mention, show, and think. These verbs are common reporting verbs, and they can all be followed by a that clause. So that followed by another clause. One more example quickly. Here's a pan of water. Let's make sure it doesn't go too close to the baby. There you go. Keep the baby safe. And another researcher may have said this. She showed water boils at 100 degrees centigrade. Now, what's happened here? Well, I could have used that because it's the word showed. Let's keep the baby safe up there. She showed that water boils at 100 degrees centigrade. But I could also leave that out and just follow it with the clause. And that's because the word that can be dropped in many instances. So sometimes if you have that with a clause after a reporting verb, sometimes you don't have to use it at all. One other important point with verbs that follow this pattern is that some of these verbs can follow other patterns too. So you might see some of these verbs come up again with different grammatical patterns because not all reporting verbs follow this pattern. Not all reporting verbs can be followed by that and a clause. And let's look at some more of those now. For the second pattern, look at this example first. Here is a man perhaps giving a presentation, and again, thinking about researchers, he says this. We described the evidence we had seen. And notice the form here. Described the evidence. We don't use a that clause here at all. Here we do something else. Here we're talking about reporting verbs that are followed by a noun or verb plus ing form. So there's another big group of reporting verbs that follow this pattern, where they're followed by a noun or if they're followed by a verb, it's the verb plus ing. Let's have a look at an example of the verb followed by ing. So here we have two people discussing perhaps the results of some research, and one of them says this: I questioned analysing the data without proper checks. So here we have questioned, which is our reporting verb. Questioned is when you doubt something. And analysing comes from the verb analyse. It's analyse plus the ing form. So you see here that you can have a reporting verb followed by another verb with ing. And these are some common verbs that follow that pattern. So verbs such as describe, examine, discuss, ignore, question, and support all follow this pattern here. They can be followed by a noun, or they can be followed by the ing form of a verb. So that's the second pattern. And now we're going to move on to some more patterns which are a little bit more specific to certain verbs. Let's start again with a picture. So what's going on here? There's a person standing in front of an audience, and the exclamation mark means they're not sure about some of the things. They are surprised, perhaps, at some of the things that this person has heard. Maybe they said this. So perhaps they used this reporting word, disagreed. They disagreed with the assessment presented by the experts. So here we have a reporting verb, disagreed, but notice the next word. The next word is a preposition, and disagreed can follow this pattern. Disagreed is followed by a preposition with and then the rest of the information. And that is because some reporting verbs are followed by a preposition. And here are a few examples. There's not many, so you can learn them individually, but here are a few of the most important ones. Apologise goes with for, concur goes with, disagree with, add object to. Let's look at one more example using concur. So let's go back to this meeting. So some people disagreed, but others, however, concurred with the findings. And concur is a reporting verb that means I do agree. So this is the opposite. But both of them use with to connect the reporting verb with the information that they are speaking about. Let's look at one final slide on reporting verb patterns then. Here's someone from the police with a criminal. The police have caught them. And why did they catch them? Well, this is the reason here. The police accused the man of robbing the bank. So here, accused can be a reporting verb too. It's reporting. So accused, when it's a reporting verb, can be used to say that someone disagrees with information. So reporting verbs are all used in connection with evidence. So if you state something, you are simply presenting the evidence. If you disagree with something, you're disagreeing with the evidence. If you accuse someone of something, then you are accusing the evidence of being wrong. So it can be used as a reporting verb. But look at the grammar here. Accused the man of robbing the bank. And here we have a reporting verb that does this. Read carefully. Some reporting verbs compare two things. These two items or people are often separated by a preposition. And here are some verbs that do that. So the verb accuse can be followed by a, which is someone or something. In this instance, it's the man. Then of, and then be, which is the thing that they accuse of. So you accuse someone or something of, and then the reason they're being accused here. So accuse works in that way. Then we also have blames A for B. This is similar. So you blame someone or something for, followed by the thing you blame them about. Defines is another word that is commonly used in reporting, where you're reporting a definition or a meaning given by someone. So this is a common one. This is a good one to know. So defines a particular word as, and then the meaning. Let's think of an example. We define grammar as the rules which govern language use. So define something as something. For confuses, we have another example that I will show you. The robbers were caught because they had confused the front entrance with the back door. So confused noun with noun. So confuse means that you think one thing is another thing. And we can use this when reporting information. Perhaps you think someone, when they're giving evidence, has got confused. They're presenting evidence to mean one thing, but actually it means another thing. Let's take a subject that we all know about. Let's think about global warming. And maybe one year there is a very cold summer, and it makes someone think, oh, cold summers means no global warming. If a researcher thinks, well, this is just one cold summer, all the other summers are hot, then they could say this about the other researcher. They have confused the cold summer with no global warming. They've confused two things which are not actually true. So confuse something with something else. So those are four of the most common patterns that you will come across when using reporting verbs. And especially at a high level of English, it's really important to know the grammar that follows the verb, because sometimes you think all I need to do is learn a range of reporting verbs, but actually learning the verbs is not everything here. You also need to learn the grammatical pattern the verb goes with.